Welcome to the Forward Together webinar series, brought to you by the School of Management at California Lutheran University. The series is designed to bring interesting topics and people to our global community of students, alumni, and leaders in business and government to empower, educate, and inspire. Forward Together features experts from industry with the purpose to spark thought, connect people, and stimulate engaging discussions. Please submit your questions in the chat. We will hold a Q&A immediately following the presentation.
Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Forward Together webinar series, our next installment. And welcome to everybody from the School of Management at California Lutheran University. Today we have Mr. David Wurth with us. We are very happy to have our good friend visiting us and providing some insights into Reinventing, an award-winning magazine in a live event business due to pandemic. And that's the title of his presentation. So a few words about David. Right now, David is a San Fernando Valley native and the founder and the CEO of C-Suite Media, which includes the award-winning C-Suite quarterly publication, which is called CSQ magazine, C-Suite Advisors, Thought Leadership and Virtual Networking Membership, Community Builder Business Development as a Service Platform, and by invitation only series of C-Suite events that are now virtual. He's also a founding member of Wurth Co, a strategy and partner marketing consulting firm based in Los Angeles. David is a current member of the board of the Boys and Girls Club of Metro Los Angeles and an advisor to a number of entrepreneurs. He currently lives in Encino with his wife and a 2-year-old daughter. So, David, welcome to you, and the floor is yours.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate the time today, and appreciate you, Vlad, and the team over at Cal Lutheran University. Have been just a tremendous partner and friend of mine in CSQ for a number of years, and so really appreciate the time and opportunity to present what we are up to here at CSQ. So want to get started on a couple of things. Number one, 13 years ago, started a publication to bring together C-level executives and entrepreneurs in LA, what we called Uptown, which was really Calabasas to Camarillo and out to Malibu. And noticed that there was a void in the marketplace for real connectivity at the highest level. And so not only wanted to produce a publication, but also create events that allowed the leadership and the business community to get together and share ideas and spawn entrepreneurship and philanthropy. And that was right before the Great Recession. So I was working in private banking, wealth management at Merrill Lynch in Westlake Village, and really, worked with a lot of these folks, wanted to tell more of their stories, ended up leaving Merrill in early 2008, put out the first issue of the magazine a couple months later, and then the whole world collapsed, right? So not dissimilar to what's happened, but in a slightly different way than what's happened today due to pandemic. So I want to take you through a little bit of the story so that everybody can understand the journey that it's taken. Fast forward to 13 years and what we've been through, what we've gone through, what we built since those early days in LA Uptown. It's really good to see everybody who's on today, some old friends as well, folks that were there at the beginning. So, one gentleman in particular, Jim Cathcart, was at our very first event that we did in Westlake Village at a catering kitchen. And so we've come a long way. Jim's an internationally recognized motivational speaker and author, and thanks for joining us today from Austin, Texas. So nonetheless, going to take you through a little bit of the journey into who we are and what we've done. Got through the Great Recession. I'll spare you the details. That was another very challenging time for us. Brought in some partners and resources to help us get through it. Scraped, scratched, and chewed and sacrificed to get through those couple of years. working out of a garage legitimately with spotty internet and that whole story. But I know you want to get to some more leadership and management related topics, so I'll spare you those details. But really, after starting the magazine and starting putting people on the magazine, about 4 or 5 years in, we expanded to LA proper from Uptown. Built really this forum for interviewing the top CEOs and entrepreneurs in the magazine, and then showcasing them online, of course, and then having them attend our events, speak at our events, get awarded, these private invite only, this private invite only environment of our community that we built. And I'll get a little bit more into what that community means. And so we've always looked at the publication as an opportunity to bridge relationships, tell stories. And so there are different segments of our community that you'll find within our publication. And that's our visionaries, our next gens. Sorry, let me get to those. Our visionaries, which are our CEOs, our billionaires, our next gens, which are the under 40 up and comers that will generate lists around in one of 4 topics, right? Innovation, technology, finance and real estate, sports, media and entertainment, and philanthropy, art and culture. Once a year, we've gone incredibly deep into that philanthropy piece and really just focused on giving back and telling the stories of those that are giving back as well, and organizations in our community. So the next gens, and then of course our C-Suite advisor community. So when you have CEOs and decision makers that are either next gen or more tenured than that, who's doing business with those folks? You've got the accountants, the attorneys, the investment bankers, the private bankers, the real estate professionals, tenant reps, et cetera. And so what we found is, okay, these are the folks that are interested in buying into the group. They want to be looked at and seen upon as thought leaders, right? So we would sell them a membership that gave them access to events, opportunity to write for the magazine, and generate actually a distribution program as well, where they'd be able to distribute the magazine to their top clients and prospects as well, where they get to see them, writing as thought leaders. In addition, where we cover a multitude of billionaire and significant CEOs as well. So really great brand association on that front. So look, we're all about building community, creating this ecosystem, and essentially being that conduit to provide access to the most influential and affluent leaders. Really what became LA, but then shortly after, well, not necessarily shortly after, about 4 years ago, we launched in New York with the sole purpose of connecting the top 2 largest markets in the United States through one platform. And so we would go out, we would interview folks from both markets, we would swap the cover for distribution in that respective market. So New York would see an LA cover. New York would see a New York cover. LA would see the LA cover, but everything inside was the same. And what we did was we would go from LA to New York and from New York back to LA in producing the events that brought this community together. See, every edition that we publish, we would, as I mentioned, honor the folks within it. And then of course, invite all the people that we've honored in the past to attend as well. So we created this really neat ecosystem. And here's just an example where last year we interviewed Ilya Posin, who co-founded Pluto TV, sold for $400 million. We had Christina Francis, who runs Magic Johnson Enterprises, a couple next gen selections, Katie Loeb and James Karklins, who used to run Observer Media, really tenured in the media space. And of course, we put them on a panel. They discussed topics to a group of 100 to 150 at the Core Club, a private club in New York. And then we mix and mingle and have really, an amazing time over scotch. And, when we were able to cigars, that kind of a format, right? Doing business, but with a really elevated lifestyle in the process, and just making it fun and unique to have meaningful conversations over a scotch, versus, that traditional that traditional event room that you'd be in the corner of some hotel, right? And so we prided ourselves on partnering with some of the best venues around, right? We launched New York at the NASDAQ. I mean, one of my, frankly, just I'd say proudest moments as I mentioned, I was working at Merrill, I was in private bank. If I was to tell you where I wanted to be in a decade with this magazine, it was either at the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ. And we did it, in 2018. So it was only a couple of years ago. We launched at the NASDAQ in New York, and opening up that market, and had a couple billionaires attend. 30% of the room flew out from LA, and it was really, really a magnificent experience and opportunity. And we've done Bank of California Stadium in LA. I mentioned the Core Club, Riviera Country Club, Christie's headquarters. I mean, you name it. We've just done just amazing activations and had incredible events at just the most tremendous venues on both coasts. And so, again, I just want to take you on this journey to give you a sense of where we came from, what we were up to, what we built, and then, of course, get to the point where, I share a little bit more about how we transitioned, right? So as an example, another example at our event. So we're bringing people together, we're drinking scotch, we're also, giving awards away, but also doing summits. Once a year, we brought together all four of our key groups from real estate and finance, innovation, tech, philanthropy, culture, sports media and entertainment for one big summit. We did it at the Montage in Beverly Hills for a number of years. We also did the Intercontinental in Century City, and hundreds of people, but really, really intimate, as much as that sounds, for hundreds of people, all invite only. And I mean, just wanted to share with you an experience where Melanie Lundquist, big philanthropist, donated hundreds of millions of dollars over her lifetime to noteworthy causes in education and healthcare. And was really neat because this was a number 3 or 4 years ago. She was in the same edition as Father Greg Boyle, who founded Homeboy Industries, a really magnificent nonprofit that turns incarcerated individuals around and gives them another opportunity through cooking and being a chef and making food. And Melanie took the opportunity at our event to announce that she was going to make a $500,000 donation to Homeboy Industries that evening. And it was really just another example of when you're bringing these folks together, that the 1 + 1 = 10, right? You put these folks in a room and really, we were creating change and really being the platform to enable folks to do so. Of course, we sold, what did we sell? What's our business? We sold advertising in the magazine. We sell and sold sponsorships to events that included all forms of activation and marketing, from newsletters to branding on invites, to being in the room and having space, but in a really tactful way. Sold introductions and opportunities to meet specific folks, coverage in the magazine. So really, really broad opportunities for people to be on panels as well and guide and moderate certain panel discussions of interest. So a number of ways to activate at a live event, for our sponsors. A little bit about the magazine's distribution. Where did we distribute? Membership clubs, country clubs, sporting events, some of the biggest sporting events around, some of the biggest golf events around, Northern Trust Open, Genesis Open, some of the biggest business events, the EY Entrepreneur of the Year Award, both LA and New York. Suites at hotels, exotic auto dealerships. I mean, wherever influence and affluence is going to spend time, and that's where we were. Well, what happened in March of this year was all that changed, right? Businesses closing, people not being comfortable to pick up magazines, pass rates for publications going down. The way that we would sell print advertising in the magazine is based upon clearly our audience, but also what's called the pass rate. So how many times is one magazine going to go from hand to hand to hand? And we had a pass rate, being a quarterly magazine, of CSQ C-Suite Quarterly of 6. Well, now that came down to at most 1, right? And so the realities of COVID hit us really hard, right? We were a bonded team, core consultant business model. A number of our folks working at the home office in West Los Angeles, and a number of consultants all around the country and in the UK as well, and a number of other locations. But we really pride ourselves on being a core unit in person, and we had an open floor plan office space, and really allowed for the flow of information in an easy format. But look, March happened, and we were supposed to be actually in New York for a core club event in the latter part of March. This thing was getting really serious. They started shutting down businesses. I made the executive decision probably the middle of the second week of March to just send everybody home until further notice. All right, you guys are going home. Yeah, everybody's got their jobs still. We're still, business as usual to a certain extent, but we know we're going to have to shutter our events, at least for the short term. Obviously, that unfolded into a longer term shortly thereafter. But hey, then that posed a whole new kind of line of challenges for us, right? So not only did we see our core business almost overnight go from, all right, selling ads, we're really ramping up our live events business this year. We had a partnership with UCLA in the works where we were going to do, we were planning on doing actually how philanthropy is driving innovations in healthcare, which was perfect for this year naturally, but in person, invite only, really powerful event, a women's summit, all kinds of really neat summits and events this year that we already had kind of predetermined sponsorships for, and we were really ramping up and finding a level of momentum, right? So as everybody knows, when you find momentum in your business, there's nothing like it, right? Because to get momentum is just worth its weight in gold. I can equate that to anybody who's in sales on this call. When it's twice as much to gain a new customer as it is to keep one, right? As much effort. So keeping them, right? Keeping customers, finding momentum, gaining customers, right? And then all of a sudden, COVID hit. Weeks later, we're having really different conversations with our print advertisers around, hey, we might not be able to advertise this year because we don't know what the heck's going to happen. Okay, print revenue, live events revenue, 90% of our business. Whether you agree with that or not, we built this platform based upon community, based upon activating in something unique as a product, the product being a print edition of the publication, right? And then, of course, also those live events, those really exclusive live events that really allow people to have meaningful interactions with each other and us to activate meaningfully brands in person so people can experience, right? That's why it's called experiential live events, experiential sector. So nonetheless, we had to shift, right? Everybody's home. Print advertising is on the downside. It was already challenged. Literally, print advertising was already declining. Ad revenues, print sales, and COVID just frankly accelerated it, as to be expected. Right now, everybody's working from home. Our distribution model went directly to offices and real locations, and so clearly we had to just literally shift gears. So we put out the next edition of the publication. It was print, Q2 Real Estate and Finance, really successful edition. The founder of Discovery Land Companies was also a third partner of Patron. I'm sorry, not Patron. Casamigos Tequila that sold for $1 billion earlier last year. Was on our cover. Really, really spectacular edition. Great interviews. Good advertisers, but scaled back. And so with no live events, scaled back advertisers, everybody working from home, like my team was going, what are we doing, right? I had some new hires, and we were just in the process of training them toward our business, getting these two verticals really churning so we can expand into the others that we've been building over the years, but haven't had the time and energy and resources to really focus on building. Well, guess what? Without further ado, right turn, COVID, we've had to focus on them. And so literally that first month, March, I get on the phone with actually my buddy, James Karklands, who you just saw in a slide, and used to be the president of Observer Media and a number of CMO, Newsweek, et cetera. I got him on the phone and said, what are we doing? And immediately shifted to virtual events. He was working on a program, which I'll get to in a little bit, involving business development as a service. And then, we have a digital platform, those C-Suite Advisors. I'll get to that more, that we knew we had to shift to. But I got to be honest, the vision wasn't crystallized, right? We had some backup business ideas and business interest to our core businesses, no question. But for us to go like this and then make a right turn and then figure out exactly where we're going to spend our time, exactly where we're going to spend our money, different from where we've been doing it for the last, frankly, 12 years, 13 years, big changes. So the team was saying, David, they were looking to me for leadership. They were saying, David, what are we doing? I had employees calling me up saying, I don't know if I can even go forward anymore. I'm stressed. There's socioeconomic issues. There's riots happening. There's a pandemic. I have to move myself. One employee, just a tremendous employee, she was uncertain about her future, uncertain about our future, right? And so, talent is everything, right? You are the result of your employees. You're a result of your partners, of your friends. When you're talking about, your personal life, they're what make up your opportunity to succeed. No matter how much I thought over the years with my, ego that I've been working on as a leader, scaling back, thinking I could do it all myself. Not the case, right? And so we finally built just the most tremendous team with just the most dedicated people that now we're going, all right, what do we do now? So it took me 3 months to put together a real plan. I almost lost an employee or two, kept them on, knew that we were working on certain projects, shifted gears, working remote, added tools and technologies like Slack, like a project management tool and function. You'd think that, oh my gosh, this company didn't have this before. Hey, no, we didn't have some of these things. Marketing automation platform, which we had, called HubSpot, which is tremendous. Other ways that we've implemented technologies to help us streamline how we work together as a team. I mean, Google Meets, Zoom, this has been really helpful. So getting quickly to where we have gone since, and what was a necessary transition for us anyways, COVID being a forceful element in that transition. We recognized a couple major demands, right? And this is what really led to my decision-making, our decision-making as a team. One was, all right, no more live events, but people are pining for good content. By the way, this was 9 months ago. Fast forward 9 months, we've all got a little Zoom gloom, so I get it. But at the time, virtual events really working, knew that they weren't going to supplement our live events business completely. How else are we going to supplement? Hey, realizing that people still want to connect. Live events are, virtual events are great. Panel discussions, great, good content, ability to ask questions, learn. However, really challenging to network, right? To build relationships. And that was a big demand point. Hey, everybody's at home now. How do I build relationships? And so we, for the C-Suite Advisors program that we've had for years, we added virtual networking. So now once a month, we're bringing our C-Suite Advisors together. And now we're bringing them together in virtual formats with our visionaries, with our next gens. Even though we're not printing the magazine, we're doing a digital edition of the magazine. We're still honoring these folks. We're getting a ton of distribution for our digital edition of the magazine. more so than we could have ever thought before, because now we're able to focus on that element. And so, not to say we won't circle back to print, but I'll get to where we're at now, and then a brief on where we see, the next 12 to 18 months. But demand for connecting and networking, so we added that. We realized that digital footprint was becoming more relevant, needed, necessary than ever for frankly, look, our target market are senior professionals. Senior professionals, been around 20, 30 years in business for the most part. I don't need to be relevant online, right? So, now that's changed. They all realize, oh my gosh, this is how I'm getting business, how I'm acquiring business, how I'm staying connected with you, how people are finding me. And I got to make sure that my digital reputation is as best as possible. So that C-Suite Advisors program that we've had for years, we, aside from adding virtual networking, we really hit it hard from an SEO standpoint. So realizing that, digital reputation important, always offer the SEO amplification. So basically what people get, what professionals get, they get a profile on our website, right? They get, adjacency to all these folks that we're interviewing and the best of the best advisors in the business, right? Across categories. They're going to get to write thought leadership, be published authors. They, and in addition, of course, the virtual networking, but really that SEO, 9 out of 10, and that stands for search engine optimization, which frankly means getting brands, or let's call it links, websites to the top of a Google search, right? People pay a ton of money for that. So we offer that as part of this program, where if you Google 9 out of 10 of our advisors, you Google Ryan Bristol, some of you may know on this call, he's second or third on a Google search. I mean, that's really important real estate, right? And not only that, but he's listed as a C-Suite advisor. And so that's, whether you know what that is or not, hey, it lends a little bit of reputation enhancement to a self-directed profile and link that we're optimizing for people. So recognize that was a demand point, really built that up, got our team hyper-directed on the entire operations model from member acquisition all the way to member retention and everything in between. And so we're still fine-tuning some of that, but really made leaps and bounds for building a membership, recurring revenue, right? Big time. Adding business intelligence reports, mentioned this virtual networking, you guys all know. There's the virtual events we talked about. This is just a generic slide, but as I mentioned, another demand point that we realize is that, traditional ways of developing business and relationship management were out the window, right? There's no more dinners and lunches. I mean, now there's a little bit of it here and there, but who knows over the next month or two, but a little bit, right? Like a fraction of what it was before pre-COVID, right? So you've got all these tenured professionals that are used to going to live events, used to going to networking events and having lunches and hosting dinners, et cetera. They can't do it anymore. So they're looking for alternatives to develop business. So I mentioned James Karklands before, former president of Observer Media, came to me at the beginning of COVID with an idea and a little bit of progress around a platform that frankly we have gone all in on. So this platform frankly leverages LinkedIn and works on behalf of our clientele to connect with the right members on LinkedIn, create conversation with those folks, because there's 600 members on LinkedIn. And that's where a lot of people are doing business, right? So connecting with those members, really important. They're qualified prospects. Having conversations, we'll do all that, turnkey it all. We're a content company and content machine. And then inevitably booking qualified meetings. So you've got an attorney that charges $1,000 an hour who's now had to figure out how to reinvent how they're developing business, and they can't afford to spend the time prospecting online the way that they need to. So we're solving that problem, right? We've found a tremendous level of success. We piloted the program. Our clients have seen an unbelievable uptick in qualified meetings. Without getting into the finer details, We also give them a dashboard where they can see transparently every step of the way how we're doing for them. So really a tremendous, going from print advertising, live events to digital reputation enhancement, thought leadership, SEO, virtual networking, virtual events, and business development as a service, right? By the way, all recurring revenue businesses, maybe minus the virtual events. So we have shifted tremendously. Not to say, again, we're not going to go back to print, because print is a tremendous vehicle for exposure of our brand. And look, we're still playing in the space where folks like to see themselves in print, right? They want to be able to have it on their coffee table when they're back in the office or in their home, and have it as a showpiece. It means a lot. We had billionaire Lori Tisch on our cover 2 years ago from New York. Family owns the Giants, et cetera, big philanthropist. And we're at Christie's headquarters, and she gets up on the podium to thank everybody for the honor and award and being in the magazine, and says it's always been her dream to be on the cover of a magazine. And this is a woman who's worth a couple $1 billion and has anything and everything, beautiful family, great resources and assets, and so just to give you an example, it really is a meaningful thing still. And so for us to shift back to that, we'll get there. Advertising will swing back around eventually, especially toward our target market, top 1% of the 1%, and live events. They're going to come back around again, and believe me, people are going to be pining to get back together with people. But I believe that they're going to be more selective, right? Now that we know what we can do from our living rooms or our offices at home or whatever, wherever you happen to be zooming in from, now there's we realize that our time can be managed more effectively. So I think there's going to be a hybrid live events and virtual events business or environment going forward, let's call it, whenever we get post-COVID or we ever get to a level of comfort where kind of the world gets back to some level of normalcy, which, talking to all the folks that we're talking to, I don't even want to make any claims, but I don't foresee it happening anytime soon, right? So nonetheless, that's where we were in a nutshell. Where the pivot, I hate to use that word, it's very overused, but where the shift had to take place in March, the team building company culture. Once that vision was set, everybody was back on track. Everybody was engaged. Everybody was building for a common cause, right? And so that was really exciting to see. We've actually hired during COVID as we built out these certain verticals, found new partners that have helped us to really elevate what it is that we're working on and access new clientele and new resources to support clientele. But frankly, a couple takeaways, right, before we get to Q&A. One is ego can be a killer. Right? Those of you who've known me for a long time that are on this call, and I see actually a handful of you that have actually been instrumental in building this business. So I'll thank you when we get to the Q&A later. Ego's a killer, right? It's and so you can't let your ego, what I mean even deeper than that, is you can't be married because of that to a business plan, right? You can't be married to your business plan. You have to be nimble and able to shift on a dime at any time. And so having backup business plans, having resources that you've built at your disposal that can consult you immediately in times of challenge, which thankfully we were able to do, really important, right? People have to reinvent their businesses every day. Doesn't mean they've failed long-term, but look, lessons in failure are probably the most important thing that any entrepreneur and any business leader can have in their tenure and their duration, right? So that's one. Follow the money, follow the demand, right? So again, if we were married to our business model, we've been doing print forever, we've been doing live events forever. If we were married to that business model, and didn't follow the money and follow the demand, where would we be today, right? So we listen, we we called, we talked to all of our customers, all of our clients. We wanted to know what they were doing, how they were navigating this, how they were feeling through it, right? Because building a business, unless you're some big, SaaS company or whatever, even if you are, it's still relationship driven, right? And so for us to make those phone calls, have that connection during a challenging time, it was akin to, frankly, the Great Recession, where everybody who I trusted was telling me, look, build a brand through the Great Recession, build it, put out the magazine, put the brand in front of people, communicate with people, because once the economy came back, you're going to earn their trust and kinship as you were with them along the way, right? So that, just some anecdotes there, but I think probably a good time to take pause, take some questions, and shift gears over to the Q&A. Thank you, everybody, for allowing me to speak for a little bit.
Thank you, David. And, I'm sure we all appreciate your wonderful presentation and the insight that you've shared with us. Thank you very much on behalf of our participants. First of all, there are a few, let me see, all right. A few notes from Jim Cathcart, who passes best regards on to you and tells you that you've made a brilliant transition. It brought your team, your dreams to reality and then transcended even yourself. So he also says that you never wavered in your focus towards the affluence and influence market segment when you shifted toward asking what they need and what you could bring. That kind of focus and the heart to serve them is the key to any success. Can you comment on that, please?
Sure. Thanks, Jim. Really, it's I just can't believe that it's been as long as it's been, and kind of the blink of an eye, but it seems like 100 years, right? So, really appreciate those thoughts, and it's been a pleasure knowing you and Paula as well for as long as I have, and just I'll never forget, the catering kitchen in Westlake Village, and our first event. I think we probably had 30 people there. Ryan's on this call. Ryan Addis. I don't think you were there, but you were involved pretty early on. You may have been. Addis, who's on this call as well. So yeah, really appreciate that, Jim. It's been a lot of hard work and dedication and head down, and it's never been easy. It's literally never been easy. And when I've thought it's been easy, is when you get slapped in the face the very next day. So so definitely appreciate those thoughts and look forward to catching up with you personally sooner than later.
Tommy Joe says, great job, David. Thank you, Tommy. On behalf of David, who can also speak for himself. And Keith Gunther says, congratulations, David. Layout and writing are what always brought me to the CSQ publication. Glad you're continuing the excellent work.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Keith, out in Utah. Really good to see you on this thing. And Tommy, man, you too. I mean, these are names of people that have been, in our community for an awfully long time. Tommy was at a number of events, tenured CEO, and just remember smoking cigars in Beverly Hills. Drinking Glenfiddich at one rodeo, right? And then Keith, man, obviously known you forever, but I just remember being at the Lux event with you. When you were finally able to come to, and the mayor Zoomed in or whatever, FaceTimed in, and it was when he was on the cover, and just had fun with our friend Ephraim Harkham, the owner of Lux Hotels, and just anyways, yeah, appreciate the thoughts and insights.
There are two also very congratulatory, I would say, notes. One from Nikki Richardson and one from Diane Kribel-Delson. Nikki says, I've always enjoyed reading CSQ. Kudos to you for the incredible pivot. Very interested to learn more about online platforms you're using. So before you answer that, another message from Diane says, David, I remember meeting you when you first started. Congrats on the continued success and transition. So let's talk about online platform or platforms in plural, if you
Yeah, really, really good question. And before I get to that, Diane, I mean, you want to talk about a community crusher. Diane's been in the community forever. Entrepreneur herself, was doing executive recruiting, staffing, placement for bigger firm, and just hung the shingle and has built an incredible community for herself. So thank you for your words, and don't think that I've forgotten about you in any capacity. So Tommy, man, yeah. Not Tom. Sorry. So the online platform. So yeah, we keep in touch using Slack. It's inexpensive. In fact, I think we have the premium version. Google Drive, G Drive, another inexpensive solution. Slides, docs, sheets. I mean, really our business is built around that. We use Dropbox as well for storage of larger media files, things of that nature. Final marketing collateral and approved collateral. We use. It's called ClickUp. So we were doing a lot of research around project management tools. We were doing like a kind of a hack job on another platform I'll share with you, but wasn't really great. And so we, with concerted effort, went and tried to figure out what the best project management tool was for us. Used Basecamp before and a bunch of others. We settled on ClickUp. Good value, great interconnectivity, APIs into everything. So that was a good move. And then HubSpot for all our marketing automation, CRM. That's honestly, it's a pricey tool, but I would say the best on the market. If you're comparing that to Salesforce and whatnot, they just have a tremendous offering to stay in front of, keep in touch with clients, email market. I mean, you were even building microsites through Zoom.
Having a good CRM is the key to successful business, and all other tools that you've just mentioned are rather popular and user friendly. So those are good lessons.
Totally agree. I mean, there are others, and feel free to email me directly if you're interested in any of the research that we've done. We did quite a bit to figure out what we were going to land on. So my email is david@csq.com. So feel free to email me there.
And the last question for you comes from Tommy. What keeps you up at night right now from a business perspective, David?
That's a long answer, but unfortunately, appreciate you for asking that. Yeah, it's there's a lot of uncertainty, right? We all suffer from that right now. We don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. Previous results or returns are not indicative of future results, right? So we even looking historically, we don't know what the future is going to bring. So I think that's challenging when it comes to any of these verticals that we're really going deep on. I'm 99% on them, but there's always that little bit of what if something else, or what's better. I think look, I have a family now, a 2-year-old daughter. That's what keeps me up at night the most. And just it's been a pleasure, and I'm sure a lot of you have recognized this as well, that just to be able to be home and see her evolve at such a young age and a critical age has been a blessing. Amidst having to figure out exactly how to work through all that, especially when childcare was challenged at the beginning of this thing, has been interesting. But yeah, that's I would say, and frankly, the team, right? I want to keep the team motivated, and frankly, to do that, I've got to stay motivated. I've got to stay positive, and I think that's one of the biggest challenges, at least for me in particular, when there are those those troughs or those challenges in business or in society, to really be that leader and show that you're human, but also lead with confidence and by example. And I think that is definitely what keeps me up at night as well. Just making sure that team's feeling good, that they're all, their vision's crystallized because mine is, and then I'm doing a good job for them.
Absolutely. And I really like this lesson, family is number one, your team number two, your job is number three. Please enjoy this time while she's so young, only 2 years old. They grow so fast, and time just slips through the fingers. You won't be able to even notice how fast she'll grow. And with that, I would like to close today's event. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Guys. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Cal Lutheran. Really appreciate it.
We thank you for participating in today's Forward Together webinar series, brought to you by the School of Management at California Lutheran University. The School of Management offers a broad range of programs and community services. Whether you're looking to upgrade your career, locate current economic data from our Center for Economic Research and Forecasting, or a place to start and grow your business at Hub 101, our community startup space, we invite you to visit us at clu.edu/SOM and join the community as we move forward together.